Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Sports Review Topics, number 23. Hope everyone's being safe. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope we're all having a good Thanksgiving Day weekend or break, wherever you are. Just hope we're being safe and got a bunch to go over today as regards to the sports weekend. Bunch to go over as far as the NFL and UFC and the NBA free agency as the next season is coming close. With that, thank you all for joining me. If you're new, like and subscribe. With that, no hesitation. Let's get into the news today, shall we? So, week 11 of the NFL season. Another good week at the NFL. I mean, we're still moving towards getting all the games played, which is the goal within this season. And 11 weeks in, and was all good. I was 8-6 this week as far as my predictions go. A few could went either way. There were some upsets as far as Vegas goes. As far as underdogs are concerned, I was right in that aspect. But still was a good week nonetheless. So it started with Thursday Night Football. Was a good game. 28-21. Seahawks won. I mean, there were two stories of the game in particular. One was the improved pass rush of the Seahawks. This was the second game of Carlos Dunlap and Snacks Harrison on that D-line, and so far it's been a vast improvement. Because Dunlap, he's had 3 sacks in his first 2 games as a Seahawk. Now, yes, when you look at stats with the Bengals this year, they weren't really good, but at the same time, he was playing in borrowed time, not really much time with the Bengals. In this case, he's played almost every snap, doubled his time, and he's had 3 sacks in his first 2 games. Snacks Harrison, some were wondering if he still had it. Well, he's a disruptor on that D-line. And plus, you have Jamal Adams back, healthy. You know, they said he's like a linebacker playing safety. But he does well when he blitzes, when he's in coverage. If that defense can play the way it does, because you're always going to have a chance with Russell Wilson and those 2 targets on the outside and Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Unfortunately, they lost Greg Olsen. What might be his last game of his NFL career. Certainly hope it's not. But nonetheless, they're still a force if they can just get help on that defense consistently. Now, as far as the Cardinals go, um, Kyle Murray, he played well, but he was there was one play where he was tackled to the ground hard on his shoulder, and he still stayed in game, but you could tell his play was compromised. And, he still did well, but you could tell he was in discomfort. And then it was found out that he sprained his AC joint. He said he's going to play through it. I mean, he hasn't. They had that mini bye, and they play the Patriots on Sunday, but it's going to be curious to see how they do. Plus, the other thing was bad play calling. What I mean is, Cardinals, when they were backed up, there was a holding call that sent them down to 2, and then when it looked like, maybe they could take it down to get the lead back, they have a holding call, and then a holding call that should not have been a safety, but it was. And next thing you know, 2 points added for the Seahawks, and then the Seahawks go down the field, take as much time as they wanted to off the clock, and the Cardinals had a limited time. They still had the opportunity to go down the field and drive the ball to make a game-tying touchdown, possibly send it to overtime. But when they were at the 20, and it was 2nd 10, they went for to Larry Fitzgerald in a suspect throw that Kyler Murray is thankful it didn't get picked off. And then 3rd and 10, excuse me. Instead of trying to pick up the first down twice, they go for all. In this play, they went for Andy Isabella, in which you could tell the throw was slow and not the way he wanted to zip it in. And it hung up there. If it was on target, Isabella would cut it for a touchdown. But no. So next thing you know, it's 4th and 10. And Murray gets sacked by Carlos Dunlap. And, there's that. Seahawks won. They go to 7-3. Cardinals fall to 6-4. They're still very much in it. But depending on the health status, Kyler Murray and the play calling just needs to improve. Next up, starting with the Sunday games, I kind of felt bad having to go over this, but Washington, they beat Cincinnati 20-9. Praise Alex Smith and Ron Rivera. They get another win. The story coming into this was the first overall pick versus the second overall pick. Joe Burrow versus Chase Young. But the story after this game, and it's sad to see Joe Burrow, his leg was twisted up on a hit. It hurts to even think about, but Burrow was down and, was carted off. And Joe Burrow's season has come to an end. And it's sad to see, but at the same time, may be a blessing in disguise because, that offensive line was suspect all season, has been suspect all season. And, you know, Cincinnati, what I mean by that is, he's been getting hit all season. And kind of glad that was torn ACL, MCL, whatever, and that he's done for the rest of the season. He doesn't have to worry about getting hit from now behind that line the rest of the season. Now, his status for 2021 is very much in question, but still just hope he gets speed recovery, and hopefully after this, Mike Brown and the Bengals organization realize that they need to supply him with real offensive line in front of him. And hopefully they do that come next year. Because I said he was having a really good rookie season and was pretty much in line to be or the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And, now next year, who knows if they supply him with good offense linemen, they can be a threat in 2021. But still, nonetheless, good for the Washington. You just feel bad for Joe Burrow. And yeah. Next up, from sad to disappointing in a way. So, in Taysom Hill's first start at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, they beat the Atlanta Falcons 24-9. Now, this game was weird because, it was 9-3 early on, just 3 field goals for Falcons. And it was ugly because they couldn't finish their drives. But they had control. Taysom Hill made some really good throws. I like his zip. You can tell he has plenty of arm strength. And nonetheless, he also has the speed. But they were creative. Hill made some good throws. And they did what they needed to do. But that defense of the Saints, 8 sacks on Matt Ryan. They just harassed him. And 3 by Cameron Jordan. Hats off to the Saints. The Saints don't really have a team left with a winning record on their schedule except for the Chiefs. And behind Taysom Hill, they can bide their time as much as they want for Drew Brees to be healthy. And for that Chiefs game, because they have the Broncos, the Falcons again, the Vikings, and the Panthers. So those are all winnable games, and they can bide their time as much as they want until Brees is healthy for a presumable playoff run. Next up, the Steelers. It's funny, I was right in how much points they were going to score, 27. However, their opposition scored 11 less points than what I gave them. But yeah, the Steelers, I mean, they moved to 10-0, but as I was talking with my bud Aaron uh, the other day, he's a Steelers fan. Um, they just start slow. If it's one thing to worry if you're a Steelers fan, they just start slow. I don't know why. Because because it was 10-3, and then the Jaguars were driving down, looking like they were going to tie the game inside the 5, and the next thing you know, it gets batted in the air, and Minka Fitzpatrick picks it off. But the Steelers, the roster is there. People forget that they were 8-8 and how talented that defense was last year. But the quarterback play was terrible. And Big Ben has brought a lift, and Chase Claypool has had 10 touchdowns in his first 10 games. I tell you, hats off. What a find he's been. They need a first round pick. He was their first round pick, and he fell to them in the second round. So it's just crazy. Last year it was DK Metcalf, fell to the second round. This year it was Chase Claypool that fell to the second round. I mean, geez. So next, excuse me, was a game I was sadly wrong about. The New England Patriots lost to Texans 20-27. Now, the thought going into this game was, okay, so he rammed over the Ravens with the running game. And last week, the Browns had over 200 yards rushing on the Texans. So now J.J. Watt, he had a real good game in the sense of swatting the balls. He had 4 batted down passes. And Deshaun Watson played great. My hat's off to him. Cam Newton, I mean, he made a couple throws. They did well, presumably, but they just were not up to par against the Texans. Their defense, especially, with the Stephon Gilmore back, which I don't know. Speaking of ugly, as well as the Browns. The Browns beat the Eagles 22-17, and once again, ugly can get conditions. It was rainy. It was muddy. But this was an ugly game to start. In the first half, there was only one touchdown, and it was a pick six by the Browns. I mean, Carson Wentz, he threw 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. I don't know with him anymore. I mean, when I look at him during this game, this season, and I look at Jared Goff, how he has played this season and against the Buccaneers last night, there's a gap right now between number one, who was picked in 2016, Jared Goff, and who was number two in the draft that year, and Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is just regressed. He has tried too hard. I mean, I don't know. He's just, I don't know what to say. I mean, maybe it's just because in 2016 he had a good rookie season. In 2017, obviously, he was having the MVP-like season, and everybody was mostly healthy. But, of course, he fell in the Rams game, and, Nick Foles led them the rest of the way, and they won the Lombardi Trophy over the Patriots. And then in 2018, he still had an okay season. 2019, he willed them to the playoffs when all injuries all around him. But it's just crazy how much he has regressed. Now, I think that perhaps now, usually when a team has been in kind of obscurity in the sense that the Eagles won their first Super Bowl 3 years ago, and they've been clamoring for another one. Like, they have not been satisfied. Okay, we won the one. We need another. I think with just all the surroundings and the pressure, it's just surmounted Carson Wentz, and maybe he just needs to get out of Philly because that contract, and it just feels like a bad, toxic situation right now for Carson Wentz, and he just probably just needs a change of scenery. That is all. Perhaps in the off season, because you don't know with Philip Rivers, and they got to take a look at how they feel about their quarterback situation. But what if, say, Philip Rivers goes somewhere else, or say Jacob Eason's not the guy who they drafted, and perhaps Carson Wentz reunites with his former offense coordinator and Frank Wright in Indianapolis, because Frank Wright was their offense coordinator when Wentz was having an MVP-like season. So perhaps that's a possibility. Who knows? But hats off to Cleveland. The Browns organization has been starving for success for a long time. they have been the doormats of the NFL for a long time. And now they're 7-3. They have a real team, uh, you know, a real coach. Um, you know, Baker Mayfield, he doesn't have to do too much. He just has to do what he has to do. Their offensive line is better. Nick Chubb, you know, and Kareem Hunt, they're probably the best running back duo in the NFL. Can't say enough. They just happy for Cleveland and happy for their fan base. OMG Lions. Sorry, Detroit, but Carolina beat Detroit 20-0. I mean, for some reason, I changed my prediction to Detroit over. Ay. I just. First, although hats off to PJ Walker. He was undrafted. He was presumably the MVP of the XFL when it was still going on. And he had himself a good day besides 2 picks. Still, PJ Walker had a really good day. You know, he has a good arm. He can move in the pocket. He just hats off to him. I'm just like, Detroit, really? He couldn't score a single point? Just like, seriously? Then we had the first of 2 overtime games. Tennessee beat Baltimore in overtime, 30-24. You knew this was going to be a physical game. You knew there was going to be some bad blood, considering what happened in the playoffs last season. And, I mean, what happened prior to the start of the game with the players of the Titans and the coaches of the Ravens just was weird, and it kind of set the tone that this was going to be a bad blood game, and the Titans just overwhelmed the Ravens, and their King Henry, capped it off with the walk-off touchdown overtime. And Baltimore is in trouble. They are in real trouble. They are 3rd place in their division, behind the Steelers and the Browns, and are just, I don't know. If they lose in Pittsburgh on Thursday night, holy hell. They'll be 6-5, and they gotta take a look at themselves. Like, what is going on? I mean, for 14-2 last year, had looked almost unstoppable, and now this season they're just, I don't know. So this game had myself. Well, and also next week sets up Titans 7-3, Colts 7-3. Man, this is going to be interesting. I was a little worried about the next game, but glad I was right still. Chargers beat the Jets 34-28. The Jets stay winless. The Chargers, I mean, this sounded like it had the makings for the Jets to win their first game of the season. However, the best player on the field was Justin Herbert. And I just think Justin Herbert was going to make more plays than Joe Flacco for his team, and thus he did. Although the Jets made it interesting late, and you thought maybe they could come back, but they didn't. So, yeah. Next, trouble in Mile High. The Broncos, they beat the Miami Dolphins, stifling their 5-game winning streak, and won 20-13. The Broncos have been a mystery all season, but they've shown the capabilities to win, to upset some teams, to play tough. The thing I was worried about coming in this game was, yes, the Dolphins are on a 5-game winning streak. However, and their offense doing what it had to do. The defense was playing really good. Their special teams playing really good. But their offense, it seemed like they were having the training wheels still on Tua. And he still couldn't be 100% basically to the playbook. Like, there was like a little group of plays, designs from the run, and the Broncos did what they needed to do, and Tua was benched. Fitz, he came in, led him for a field goal. Some made a one-possession game. They had a chance to tie it late, but Fitz threw a pick, and I'm curious how they're gonna go about it next week. They play the Jets, but we'll see. Next up was a game that was more interesting than I think most people thought it would be. The Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys. The Vikings, who I picked to win, lost 31-28. Back and forth. It was a physical game. Dallas, they showed some fight. Their offense, Andy Dalton coming back. He put a lift, and Zeke was playing well. However, the Vikings fired back on offense. But Dalvin Cook, they held him mostly in check. You see, the problem with Dallas is they are the best team on paper in the NFC East, but they're inconsistent, and they showed what their offense can be in this game versus Minnesota. Now, of course, can they rattle off some wins and move forward and probably win the division? We'll see. Minnesota, I'll get to them in a sec, but yeah. Then the second of two overtime games. Indianapolis came all the way back, being down 2 touchdowns, wins in overtime. There was some suspect play calling, but the Packers offense could not get anything going in the second half. I mean, not till it was 2 minutes left and they went down the field and got a game tying field goal. But it was just mistakes and, you know, their offense just fell flat and could not get anything going in the second half, which is, I knew that I ultimately felt that the Colts defense, because they've been really good this season, that they would come up, and ultimately they did in the second half and did what they needed to and allowed their offense to come back into it. Then what a game on Sunday night. The Chiefs beat the Raiders 35-31. I mean, the Raiders gave the Chiefs all they could handle. They did. And Derek Carr played great. Um, you know, when I think about Nelson Aguilar now, I bet Eagle fans are probably frustrated because he had that one good season when they won the Super Bowl, but has been average to not really good in Philly. And they let him go to Las Vegas, and he has been a viable threat for Derek Carr. Now, there were some missed opportunities um, by the Raiders offense to open this up more. Failure to get more points at the end of the half. And, some missed throws, some or key receptions that could have clinched it for the Raiders. But the Chiefs stuck to it. You can tell the game plan for the Chiefs was different from last game. Um, the Raiders, even though it was a loss, it was a win. They showed you that they're a playoff team. And, if they play a third time in the playoffs, oh baby, that'll be interesting. And then to finish up week 11, the Rams, they beat the Buccaneers 27-24. The Rams, I have a feeling, both teams really good coming in. The Rams have been kind of under the radar, a good team. The Buccaneers, we know with all this talent on the offense and defense and how they steamrolled Carolina. I just felt because the Rams D-line caused problems for everyone. And we know the formula for the Bucs to win. Run the ball, play action, and dissect defenses. The Rams played the Bucs out of their game plan. And the Rams did what they needed to do. And the leaky O-line, Donovan Smith came in and out. Ali Marpet still out at left guard. Their offense line, now they did score some points, but it was close. But there was just, I trusted the Rams defense line in the trenches more than I did the offense line of the Buccaneers, plain simple. But however, it was a good game. The Rams now move in the first place of the NFC West due to the tiebreaker over Seattle. The Buccaneers, if they go to playoffs, they're going to be a wild card team. Now, they can still win. They just have to play the formula. Every team kind of has a formula to win. And if the Bucs can play to their formula and being balanced on offense, then they'll be fine. But when it comes to some of the offenses and the NFC, they just they have the weaponry, but they just cannot get into these big shootouts, really. They just have to play their strength. So, that was my recap of Week 11. Now, I'll get into some news as regards to NBA's free agency, because 3 days before Christmas, the NBA 2021 season is opening up. But it's been crazy. We had the NBA draft. LaMelo went to Charlotte. Anthony Edwards went to Minnesota. There are some good moves as around the NBA. Now, the Charlotte Hornets signed Gordon Hayward. It's kind of curious to see. They did not re-sign Kemba Walker, but they signed LaMelo and now Gordon Hayward. Kind of scratch your head. But, so, Minnesota, they drafted Anthony Edwards. They have D'Angelo Russell. They re-signed, or they got back Ricky Rubio. They have still Carl Anthony Towns. They have a nice core for the future. The Lakers, they signed Dennis Schroeder. They signed Marc Gasol. Also the Heat, they signed Avery Bradley. They were making waves in free agency. The Pelicans as well, they signed Steven Adams. The Suns signed Chris Paul. There were a bunch of big moves. One team, though, that has been kind of sorry as of late. I didn't see really any moves out of them, and I thought they were a team that needed to make a move. And I was disappointed in the Chicago Bulls. How I was seeing all these moves, from Minnesota, from Miami, from the Lakers, from the Pelicans, from Charlotte, and the Chicago Bulls didn't do anything. I guess, Zach LaVine needs help. The Chicago Bulls are just disappointing, I would say. But, whatever. So, those are my thoughts on NBA free agency. Now, next up, go over my predictions for NFL Week 12, which Thanksgiving week, it's going to be some good games. Which side of the ball goes, we'll see. So, hopefully I get double-digit wins this week. Again, I have a good feeling. So 3 games. We start, of course, on Thanksgiving. We have, in the morning game, we have Texans at Detroit. Houston, they are not the same without DeAndre Hopkins, but they play competitive at times. Deshaun Watson, of course, had a great day on Sunday. Detroit, I mean, they are 4-6, and you think they're going to be competitive. You think at times, but I have more faith right now in Houston. So I'm going with Houston to win 27-21. Next up, Washington at Dallas. In a battle of the NFCs. We have a 3-way tie at second for 3 and 7 between Washington, Dallas, and the Giants. Philly is hanging on because of a tie with Cincinnati. I mean, this could go either way. But, Washington, they have a really good defense. Their offense is kind of suspect. Dallas showed the capability on Sunday that their offense can play is legit. And when you look at things on their offense, you see more capabilities to be in a shootout. So therefore, I'm going with Dallas to win 30-24 over Washington. And then the headliner on Thanksgiving. We got Baltimore going to Pittsburgh. Great rivalry in Heinz Field. Pittsburgh's 10-0. Baltimore, they're 6-4. Seem to be, they outplayed Pittsburgh last time in Baltimore. But that was when the Steelers weren't playing their best football. So I just think Baltimore's offense is kind of one-dimensional, you could say, and Pittsburgh's got ways to beat you. I think this will be physical and ugly as Pittsburgh and Baltimore games are, but I'm going with Steelers to get their 11th win on the season. 24-21, close one, but Pittsburgh wins. Now on to the Sunday games. So Miami go to the Jets. So Miami got their bubble burst against Denver. The Jets are the worst team in football. This will probably not be high scoring, but I would expect them to be as bad as they were on Sunday against the Broncos. I expect them to make a few more plays. Perhaps their defense causes turnovers. And Miami wins, gets back on track 7-4, and they win 23-18 over the Jets. Next, we got the Cardinals, 6-4, going to New England, 4-6. I mean, Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are explosive on offense. You know, I love the Patriots, but we have to play a certain style of football, and against these mobile quarterbacks, I think Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury will learn from what Deshaun Watson did against us, and they'll just make a few more plays. They win 27-24. So, next up, Teddy Bridgewater going back to Minnesota. Carolina at Minnesota. You know, whether it's Teddy Bridgewater or PJ Walker, I just have more faith right now in the Panthers. And I think they win by a touchdown, 28-21. Next up, the new Cleveland Browns. So, new Cleveland Browns. 7-3, going to Jacksonville. Jacksonville, they have some nice young pieces, but they're just undermanned, and this is probably going to be Doug Marrone's last season as Jaguars head coach. So I'm going with Cleveland to run the ball effectively, do what they need to do, and they win 28-14. Next up, we got the rematch. Titans at Colts. The Colts won effectively last time in Tennessee, but that was due to special teams mishaps. And because for the first half, the Colts were being controlled by the Titans and they were setting their tempo. Now, those were two fluky plays, and I don't expect those mistakes with Mike Vrabel to happen again. And I expect the Titans to run their tempo, and they win in a fist fight 26-23. Next up, the Giants go to Cincinnati. I mean, the Giants have been playing better as of late. They're still in line to win the division. And the Bengals, without Joe Burrow, Ryan Finley, can he make some plays? Maybe, but I just have more faith in. Excuse me, I was getting a notification. But I expect the Giants to win 27-17 over the Bengals. Next up, it's the Nathan Peterman game. The game where he debuted and threw 5 picks in the first half. So, got Chargers at Bills. This is a sneaky good game. You know, Justin Herbert versus Josh Allen. Both are talented teams. The Bills, you know, both are kind of dimensional on offense in the sense that they play through their quarterbacks. They're not balanced. With Burrow's injury, Herbert is lining up to be the favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But the Bills probably have a soft taste in their mouth over what happened in Arizona. Excuse me. And, right now they have more to play for and first place in their division. So I'm going with the Bills to win 24-20. Next up, Raiders going to Atlanta. Raiders, they gave the Chiefs all they could ask for, but they lost. The Falcons look deplorable against the the Saints. The Raiders are the better team right now, and they're vying for a playoff spot. So I'm going with the Raiders to win 28-23. Another rematch. The Rams host the 49ers. Now, last time Jimmy G was healthy. I mean, not totally healthy 100%, but he was still healthy enough. George Kittle, and they were mostly healthy on offense. However, this offense is not as healthy as the offense then. They can still probably make some plays, but the Rams are the better team. And with all these injuries, I have the Rams winning 24-17. I think that was my same predicted score for the previous game, but funny. So, next up, Saints going to Mile High to take on the Broncos. Taysom Hill's second start for the Saints. I mean, the Broncos contained Tua when they were on training wheels, basically. But the Saints, they have more explosive offense. And I think they'll open it up for Taysom a little more. Plus, he's a better runner than Tua is. So, now the Broncos have the capabilities to make it ugly. And, however, I just think more talent on the Saints roster. They have better team. Going with the Saints to make more plays and win 28-24. I originally had it as a touchdown lead, but I have more respect for the Broncos to keep it a little more close. Next up was presumably the game of the week. Chiefs going to Tampa Bay take on Tom Brady and the Bucs. Now, the Chiefs, we know their offense, they're explosive. the Bucs at times look explosive when, like I said, they run their formula and, you know, they have a better weaponry, I would say, than the Raiders do. And, perhaps they take some formula from what happened. And I don't think Tom Brady is not going to be fired up for this game. I mean, he probably didn't look fired up for the game against the Rams. I bet he's going to look fired up for this game. And, they control the clock. They do what they need to do. They have the talent on that defense. So I got the Bucs winning 35-30 at home. Get back on track. Be 8-4, and they do what they need to do. Next Sunday night, Bears at Packers. The oldest rivalry in the book in the NFL, Bears and Packers. Now, because of the Colts win over the Packers, the Bears are only 2 games behind the Packers, and they play them twice. Now, there's been shuffling, and we know my rant on the Bears last week, but this is their chance. If they win, they're only a half game back. And the Bears, they have the defense, with a bye week. I don't expect score much, but I think this is their chance, and I'm picking them, and if they don't win, I'm not picking them for the rest of the season. I'm not. So I'm going with the Bears to win 23-21, be inspired, and get the W in Green Bay. Next up, to close Week 12 of the Thanksgiving week of football, we got Seattle going to Philly. Seattle, they won against Arizona, avenged that loss. Philly are just confusing. Carson Wentz, can play good at times, but overall he tries to do too much. But I think that new life of the defense will come into play. They'll confuse Carson Wentz, and Seahawks win 31-20 or 30-21, excuse me. And they beat Philly. Alright, so those are my thoughts on NFL Week 12. We'll see how it goes down. It's going to be a good week as far as sports go. But so that's the episode for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I did. If you're new, like and subscribe, click on the bell. It'll help out the video. Also, if you want notifications on my predictions, my reviews, my anything as far as news goes, as far as sports. Nonetheless, hope you guys enjoy it. happy Thanksgiving. Hope you're all being safe and take care. Enjoy time with your family, and I'll be back on. Well, so Thanksgiving is on Thursday, and AEW's on Wednesday. I'll probably post let's see, as far as my AEW review, is concerned for later this week, but I want to have my AEW review posted for this week. Probably won't be Thursday because of Thanksgiving, but we'll see. But thank you all and be safe.